Hey there, welcome back to the CNet SysOp channel. On this channel, you are joining me for a little journey down memory lane as I try to resurrect my CNet 12.0 bulletin board. If you watched the last couple of videos, you saw that we gave a bit of an introduction to what CNet is, CNet, what it was, how it became other systems, 128 and image, and how that that history was. There's a lot more to that. I'll probably be making a part two to that because there's a whole lot of other information as I've met other people online and kind of started to piece together a bit of what was the BBS scene back in the 80s and 90s. Shout out to these guys on Facebook, the Image BBS group. Great bunch of people out there who are still kind of keeping the scene alive, still involved with trying to make it work, trying to set up new BBSs, supporting folks that are on the user side or the BBS side. So if you're interested in this topic, definitely pop out there and give them a shout. You actually get to interact with a few people that have been around the scene for a long, long time and a whole lot smarter than me. So pop out there, make yourself known, and yeah, it's interesting getting more and more information about this. I didn't realize there was so much out there. So there's a lot out there for image because image is certainly the most popular, one of the most popular from what I can tell, and is still under active development. It's what CNet 12.0 then became CNet 12.1. The 12.1 developers moved on and made image 1.0. And then there was 1.1 and 1.2 and 2.0, and that's still going today. So cool stuff. Let's quickly refresh everybody's memory on what we've been doing the last couple of videos, setting up CNet 12.0. Right now, I have two disks set up to be used in Vice, Drive 8 and Drive 9. We did all this setup last video. Go back and watch that if you want to see it, but everything is Drive 8 except for I have a Drive 9, which is the P files disk. So everything else is just put on drive 8, and this is my drive 9. Going back in here to Vice, let's go ahead and I've already attached uh, those two drives. So let's go ahead and load up CNet. You get the splash screen that we're all used to. In a moment, it's going to ask you enter in all your system disks because CNet boots and then it allows you to take the boot disk out and do all of its work. So I'm going to go ahead and press return because everything is in where it should be. It does its work and asks you about entering in the correct day. It checks some devices on there, and then it brings you to what is called the bar screen, or this is really the waiting for call screen. So if you look, doing a quick introduction, first of all, what you can do on this screen is you can use 1 through 4 to actually change the view. So you can hit 1, brings you to a cool clock. This is something I did not know until I read the manual much later. 2 is the bar screen. 3 shows the space available on all the disks. And then 4 actually does like a system password that apparently like for the next call, it requires you to enter in a password. Not quite sure how that could be useful other than saying, hey, if the next person calls, they got to enter a certain kind of password, I guess. So first thing to understand about this screen is navigation. Use the F4 key to navigate the little white bar right here in the center to the left. F5 brings you to the right. F7 selects. So what do these mean? SYS stands for SysOp status. This will give your users and drive some behavior in the system of whether or not the SysOp is available to chat. It'll page you if you are here, and it will tell them you're not available if they try to chat. The next one is access. Now I'll show this actually when we get logged in, but if a user is logged in, you can check that. And right up here in the upper right-hand corner, you will see a highlight that says access level, ACS, and you can use the F4, F5 key to adjust it anywhere from 0 to 9 on that. The next one is local login. So this is what we'll be doing when we actually log into the BBS. TSR, that allows you to change the time remaining. So again, when somebody's logged in, you can check, and right up here in the upper right hand corner, TSR, you can actually adjust and give them more time. The next one here for CHT, that's chat. That's the sysops actually chatting and entering in, breaking in for a chat for a logged in user. Next one is new. Checking or unchecking this enables to say, do you want to allow new users or not? When it's checked, it means it's no new users. The next couple here, it's pretty interesting. Let's look at the original CNet manual for this one. When you look at this menu, or when you look at this page right out of the menu, out of the manual, this is the final page in the actual menu. And you can see it shows online functions, access change. The last one is chat, and you think there's another page to this manual, and there's not. This is the last page. And I actually went and got my original manual out of storage and said, surely the person who scanned in this PDF just didn't scan in that last page. Nope, that is the last page. So in the actual official manual, there is no description of those last couple. But fear not, I can tell you what they are. So the last couple, if we look at this, actually will output data to your printer when your printer is on. Now, I don't know how much it actually prints out, if it's everything, if it's logged. I've read a few things about uses up a lot of paper, so I'm assuming it's just kind of verbose logging. So if you check that, it tries to output data to the printer. Next one is the UD. This tells you is UD open or UD closed, upload download area. If it's checked, it's not, it's closed. If it's unchecked, it's open. So that's the quick uh, walkthrough of all these menu options. Here you see all the bar statistics, last call, log total, current total, system total. What has happened with your BBS? You can restart this log by typing the word log at the prompt, but we'll do that. But this tells you all the statistics about your BBS. So pretty neat stuff. Bottom, there's a bunch of different things down there, like blocks free on the right-hand side. Bottom left is memory usage. Those things kind of change throughout, and I'll show you some of that too. So let's get logged in. So hit F7, and we'll start the login process. But the login process fires up a file called sys.login that you can modify. We'll do that in a little while, but so let's go ahead, and I'm going to use my login ID for this. If you remember, it was just called CNet sysop, but I'm going to use my login ID for that. So put my password in, verifies. Thank goodness I can get in now. Behind the scenes here, it's firing up the p.lo file and the p.tele login. This is the little program that allows you to log in. You see the auto message here. There's an auto message. I can show you that feature as well. Obviously, there's nothing there right now. Tells me I have 254 more calls. I have infinite time this call. Gives me a couple different statuses here. What group I'm a part of, group 9, sysop is out, UD status is open. Again, that's those two things over here. Checks for mail, checks for news, and that's it. Now we're at the main prompt. From here, you can do a question mark and actually look at the menu. So let's look at the actual menu. I'll hit pause there really quick on the emulator just to make sure you can see. So we'll do a couple of these. We'll do some of the main setups, but this is the main pieces of the system. We'll go into some few of the specific ones, but you can come down, and then you got commands available at all settings or all levels. Looks like there's a little bit of a bug there in it, but let's go ahead and let's do a couple things first of all. So there's a couple of apps that you want to set up right away, or at least look at. I'll show you how to do it. Hit R from the main menu. One app I want to call to your attention to is called Access. Access is where you actually set up your groups, and there's default groups in there. You can see right here. Here's the groups that you have. How many calls per day? How long they have call? How long they can sit and do nothing for before they get hung up on? And then how many downloads they get per day. So for example, we can change this to new user. They get one call a day. They get a very short call. They have 2 minutes, and let's say they have no downloads per call. All these other things in here, non-weed status, that's if they can get weeded out or not. Do they have local maintenance? Can they post and respond? Can they eliminate downloads, email? Do they have maintenance? All these things. Can they see all these things in your BBS? Now this is where you could set that up and configure that. I'm just going to configure like um, another one here, and I'm going to put like this is a super user, and they get 3 calls per day. They get 35 minutes a call. They can be idle and they can do 4 downloads, and you can see how it's set up here by default. They can post and respond. They have UD access. They can do email. They can look at the user list. They can look at the bar view. Do they have sub maintenance or file maintenance? No, that stuff's reserved for sysops. And as an example, if you look at 9, which is your sysops, they have all these number of calls, time per call, minutes idle, how many downloads, and then they have access to everything in here. Um, Everything. It's kind of interesting that local maintenance is not on there. I'm going to go ahead and change that. Let's give local maintenance there. So you get yes everything. Credit ratio, probably call that out. Credit ratio is how many blocks you upload to how many download credits you get. So I'm going to say sysop gets 9 to 1. You upload one block, you get 9 blocks to download. So that's a really quick walkthrough of access, and this is how you set up that. I'm going to hit yes. Next one I want to show really quick. Today we'll focus on 2 different areas, the upload and download group. So upload and download group, you can set up those by running dir edit. And what this does is this actually lets you configure the subboards. So sys.sub is not configured. That's what I'm going to configure here. General talk, access. Now let's hit pause there for 1 second and talk about access levels. It's a bit confusing in CNet. Now, if you're really hardcore and you want to go look at the actual manual, this is what it talks about groups and codes. And so how this really works is if you add up all of these numbers, these codes, if you add them up all in a row, they get to 1023. So if you put the security access level as 1023, it means that all groups get access to this. Looking back at this, if you were to take off 1, you are saying that every group but level 0 can access this. So you would do 1022, and that's kind of confusing, but let me show you a little table that I set up for this. So here is a quick breakdown of how security levels work. So they're not rolling in, they don't roll into each other. So if you have access 3, you also get access 4. It allows you total customizability. So, but the way I look at it is have it be, where you inherit the rights of the level above you. So this is the way that I look at it as if you want everybody who has everybody 5 and above, let's say, or say 5 and below, 543201, you need to give them 992. So you say 992. Sorry, scratch that, the opposite. Everybody 5 and above. So if you say just levels 9 through 5 can do this, it's 992. And the number is 512 plus 256 plus 128 plus 64 plus 32. Hopefully that makes sense. It's kind of an interesting way of looking at it, but again, if you add up all of these, you get to 1023. So if the security level is 1023, everybody has access to it. If you want to say just people that levels 3 and above get access to it, you would subtract 1, 2, and 4 from 1023, or add up all the other numbers in the value column. So, for example, um, going back to this general talk, I'm saying, okay, I want everybody who's not level 0 to get access to this. I'm going to do 1022. And then you can tell it, where are you going to store these messages? Now remember, the 1541 only has about, I think, 150 files before it maxes out. So this is where you got to be thinking about what device you're going to store these messages on. So I'm going to stick with 8, but you can always come back in here and change it. Just you got to make sure if you change it, you move the messages over to the new drive. Subop, you can set up individual users that have access to maintain um, your board. I did this all the time. I gave people higher access to my site or to my BBS to allow, and then in return, they looked after a message board to make sure everything stayed good and people weren't on there causing trouble and things like that. So you don't have to put anything on here, but I'll put my own ID on there. Um, so for example, I can do, sysops only as a board. Now for this, I want 8 and 9 to have access. So 8 and 9, if you remember this chart here, 8 and 9, I would take 512 and add 256 to it, meaning 768 is the level. So 768, and then I'm going to keep device. I'll make myself the subop. I'm already by default the subop, but that makes sense. So now we're going to save those changes and let that do its thing. And let's go do the same thing for the UD boards. Exactly the same concept here. General UD, and we'll say everybody can get access to that. 8, and again, where are these going to be? And then you can say let's do 2, and this is the elite wares. And then using that chart, I said, let's say I want everybody who has level 3 and above access to that. So I'm gonna say that it's gonna be on device 8. I'll make myself the subop again, although again it doesn't matter. And then I'm gonna save it. And now let's exit out of this. So now we set up our boards, we set up some access levels. Let's go really quick and look at these. I'm gonna hit B and I'm gonna go over to the subs. And so here you can see we're in general talk. I'm the subop here. There's nothing there. It's a board I set up. I can do L to list all the available boards. Those are the 2 boards I have set up. We'll go into some more detail on this, but you can take question mark. Sorry, not that one question mark. And you can see here, here's all the menu options you have for that. You can read, you can list, we already did that. You can add, kill, all these different things. So we'll go some more detail on that, but I want to, this video is getting long and I want to show you how to get up and running and how to set up a few of your boards. And then we'll go into a few other things in a later video. If you guys want to hear this, if you're still here, well, you're interested in CNet 12.0. And again, there's your board that we set up. Commands work very similar, UDs or subs. The bulletin board, this is the one general UD that I set up. Shows you credit points, how many credits I have. Let's see, we can go into elite wares. I love the way we used to spell that. Shows me that I'm the subop. If there were files in here, I could press S. If there were downloads here, I could say download a file, but there's nothing there. But again, you can see all the menu options there and take your time. And because this video is getting long, let's call that good for today. That should get you started and get you set up on a few of the major things. Let's go ahead and log off. I'm not going to leave feedback to myself. I assume they missed an N there. But next video, we'll talk about editing some of those login files. We'll probably get into things like auto message in news and a few other things like PNG files. There's a lot of different topics to cover. Hopefully this helps. Down in the comments or down in the video description, I'm going to put a link in for the CNet 12.0 manual. If you don't know where that is, I dropped it out there, so I'm going to put that in the comments if YouTube will let me, because it doesn't always let me with with new with a new channel, so we'll see. If it's down there, use it. If not, I'll add it later. So thanks for staying this long. Hopefully it was helpful and enjoyable. This has been fun for me to relearn this system, and I'm well on my way to resurrecting my own BBS, but for right now, we are working mainly on just how to set up a brand new one. So and hopefully you can set up your own and play around with it and relive some memories. But until next time, have a good one.